Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we are reviewing Titania with her brand new uniform. And this one is a bit of a banger. I know we're starting on stage 29, which is a pretty low stage, but it not only serves as a nice comparison for Juggernaut, but it also shows us how good Titania's rework is. Because unlike Juggernaut, she is not a paywall character. She's completely free to play. So this is a pretty big upgrade for a very rare and often undervalued and sort of underdeveloped portion of the roster, the female combat villains. It's an extremely rare species of character, and so, you know, getting their due is really important because look at this damage and look at this defense. I know we have Valkyrie, but remember, Taskmaster doesn't give any defenses. So all this tanking that she's doing is largely due in part to her defenses, her HP, her healing, and all that good stuff. She's also decently fast. Not the fastest character, not as fast as Juggernaut, but not bad either. We didn't even press that one. Nice. So yeah, I'm really happy here. The build is a little bit more stacked than I usually do for a first comparison video. But the thing is, a lot of players are going to immediately draw the value of Titania over to ABX. And yes, in ABX, and you can check out videos by other content creators for that, Titania absolutely has value. Again, partially because combat females are kind of a weak class, but also because she's just actually good. So the rotation I'm using here is 3 cancel 4, delayed cancel into 5, and then once there's that big explosion on 5, then you can cancel 5. But otherwise, you're just rocking everything out and letting everything play out to get as much accumulation as possible, because like Juggernaut, she has damage based on, or accumulation I should say, which increases her damage based on how much damage she received. So you do want to get hit. It does make the second phase of this, or the last phase of this fight, a little bit more difficult, because Mephisto actually doesn't do much damage to you unless he's slamming you, and then he stuns you, so he interrupts you. Kind of know how that goes. But yeah, she's doing pretty well, very well right now. Actually, we're only 2 minutes into this fight. She's got a very respectable amount of burst damage, and she also has that V-pad skill. As you can see here on her first skill, you can spin to win and actually use that to dodge attacks, which is really important not only for Mephisto, but also for other bosses as well. So we're actually going to use this to spin away from him and kind of get away. We could probably just push and finish this now, but I want to paralyze him. Kind of ran into that one. That was kind of dumb. But yeah, she gets this done in about 2.5 minutes, which is very impressive. Very impressive for, you know, for this stage, given that you have type disadvantage and given that this is her very first uniform. This is a really good rework for Titania. And like I said, a lot of people are immediately going to draw her value to ABX, but I think that her value is actually bigger than that. And of course, her value also lies in the fact that she has a self-buffing leadership and also a leadership for all combat types, and an additional passive buff for any allies with the strong ability. Now, that's not every ally in the game. It's a pretty short list of allies, but as you can see here, we have a decent group, including, you know, new characters like Juggernaut and Absorbing Man, but then we also have Namor, Kingpin, we have Black Dwarf, and then we also have Null. So we have a decent list here. We even have some future characters that will hopefully get reworked. Of course, Kamala Khan is a big one, perhaps Gladiator, Thane, and stuff like that. So it's a decent list of characters for that buff. So besides ABX, besides the leadership and passive support, where else do I see Titania being useful? Well, I didn't highlight it enough. I tried to highlight it a little bit with Juggernaut, but really Titania represents this new wave of combat types that are just really hard to kill. And that's really good for PvE if you're not the best at dodging and avoiding attacks. And that might seem like, you know, you might not raise your hand immediately and be like, yeah, that's me. But the same people who think that it's frustrating to play as Storm, and I'm one of those people, characters like Juggernaut and Titania are literally the opposite. She has lots of movement speed, lots of defense, lots of tanking, lots of healing. So you get basically the opposite experience. This is a character that you can face tank with. Face tank means you don't try to dodge anything because you can just out heal and out muscle all of the damage that you're taking. Obviously, this has limits, right? If I take her into stage 45 of Mephisto, she's going to take a lot of damage. I don't even know if, frankly, she has the damage to do that stage, but the fact that she can even stand up to that stage, like, I don't need to tell you how quickly Storm gets obliterated on this stage, right? One mistake, and Storm gets just toasted, right? Roasted and toasted. Meanwhile, you have a character like Titania here. I have barely one support that gives defense, which is because Proxima doesn't give defense. It's all offensive for Proxima as a support. Same with Taskmaster. So the only one I'm getting 5% resistance from Abomination. That's it, right? And even with that, we're hitting close to 1 million on these hits here. And look at the tanking, right? Look at the tanking. She's gonna pop the heal, right? She can reposition. She explodes with the damage. Boom, 400k, and she's right back up, right? Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know where the heal is. Oh, there's the heal. All right, there we go. And she's rocking 144,000 HP. All right, my proc was quite late there, so we're probably gonna have to adjust this. But yeah, and we're actually not gonna. But yeah, look at this. Has she taken any damage? Nope. I mean, listen. Again, her damage, right, is definitely in question here. But in terms of the damage she's taking, I don't have to worry about dodging, right? Maybe in phase 2 we can die, but I'm still gonna have to try pretty hard to die in phase 2, right? So I'm really happy with that. I'm actually kind of curious. Okay. Yeah, my proc is way off. Okay. All right. I'm not 100% sure if she can do that stage, but it doesn't matter because that's what I think is really special about these characters. And for Juggernaut, I was like, oh, I wish they would introduce like another PvP game mode so we could use these characters. But no, you know what? Even if you don't want to do that, you can build her like this. It's not even a good build, right? And she's tanky as hell. She's tanky as hell. She's got healing. She's got damage reduction, right? She's got all this stuff here. And then she's got the support stuff, and then she's got the build itself, and she's got the accumulation, and she's got the counterattack, and she's got the ignore iframe. You could also build her for PvP. I think most people are going to build her for PvE. She's a solid option. And as far as the rest of my build goes, I was using a CTP of Rage. Now, I know you're going to be like, oh, Alex, like that's, I don't think she's proc friendly. Okay, so keep that in mind because you have to delay cancel 4 if you want to get the hits. Right, so with the 4th skill, she slams down, and it's that slam down. You can cancel after the slam. So I guess she could be proc friendly. She could be, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be quite tough because you're going to need to boom, and so there's like 3 or 4 hits there. She could be proc friendly, but I think ultimately a lot of people are going to gravitate towards a Rage for her because it's easier to play her. She has enough hits to make it work. And it's going to be best for ABX. But I think you could definitely try her with a CTP of Energy. I kind of regret now not giving her a proc first to show you guys that. But when she was released, okay, keep this in mind, in my defense, when she was released a couple of days ago, it was Combat Female. So I gave her a Rage so that she could perform and she could commit some of that value right away. But if you're not, if you're not interested in ABX, then by all means you could outfit her with like an ignore damage, crit damage proc or something like that, and I think she could do quite well for you. She doesn't have any chain hit damage like Juggernaut, but she does have more hits than Juggernaut, so you may be in a situation where you could try an energy as well. I would actually be curious to see how well that works, but I'm actually really happy with Titania. And the last thing I want to show you guys with Titania that I didn't show you guys with Gorr, and by the way, I think you could build Titania for PvP. I said this already in the video, but just to reiterate it, she has iframe ignore with counterattack. That's usually pretty huge for PvP. Also, the accumulation based on damage taken is quite nice. She also has the V-pad skill. She also has the guard hit here, which is nice when you pair it up with like damage reduction and invincibility and stuff like that. And then she also has the heal. What is it? 30% heal on one of her skills here. I guess she doesn't have a heal on one of her skills. I'm like not reading the text really well right now, but I know she has a heal on her passive. That 30% heal that she can activate every 4 seconds. So yeah, I do think you can definitely build her for PvP. Again, I don't think that you're going to see a lot of people doing that because of how valuable she is for PvE. But here's what I want to show you. We're going to go to stage 9 here, and I'm going to use Titania. Of course, we're going to double her up with supports here. But again, you have a lot of flexibility with supports because of the fact that she has a self-buffing lead and stuff like that. So you don't necessarily have to use someone like Sif, although you can. And then we're just going to give her one more ignore dodge striker because Gorr likes to use ignore dodge. Here's the thing. Gorr, and I'll do a separate video on Gorr in the future, but Gorr does a lot of damage with his attacks. So a lot of characters end up dying a lot sooner than you'd expect because they just take so much damage. Accumulation is really good against Gorr because he does so much damage. So accumulation when damage taken actually ends up being a really good stat because he ignores your iframes and he just rips through. And there you go. She just tanked that hit. That was like 80,000, 90,000 damage. I'm a little bit worried about her now, but she's gonna slowly come back. And what you can do, like, okay, I'm not having a good time right now. What you can do, like Falcon, why did he run away? Is you can actually run into the tornadoes because those tornadoes count as hits, right? So you can run into the tornadoes. I just died. That's great. Okay, this was not the showcase that I wanted it to be. We'll cue this back up again. But basically what I wanted to show you, anytime she gets hit, right, after the heal has passed the cooldown, any hit can heal her again. So you can actually play her in much the same way that you would play Falcon in terms of getting hit and sort of baiting out those hits. At this point of the fight, you actually just want to switch. And that was the mistake that I made. I didn't switch. Because this part of the fight lasts longer than 10 seconds, so there's no point in being on your main DPS and risking them. But yeah, damage taken characters, accumulation damage taken characters actually do quite well versus Gorr because he allows you to accumulate so quickly. And that's actually very nice. So here, she's going to pop right off. He's going to hit me, and we're going to keep going here with this damage. This run is certainly not going the way I wanted it to go, but nice. But yeah, like, even if I don't play super well in this showcase here, it's not actually about the damage. Like, her burst damage is amazing, right? When she accumulates, of course. But on top of that, it's about the survivability, right? Like, I'm showing you this because Gorr hits like 10 times harder than null. And the fact that she can just tank that is huge. Because again, not everyone is like a super, you know, super sweaty player who has all of the mechanics memorized and whatever, blah, 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 right? And so if you just want to enjoy the game and you just want to like chill out when you're playing, you know, she represents that ability to do that. She's got great targeting on her 5th skill, by the way, where she just like zipped over to him. And then see, I can reposition with the 1 and he's done, dude. He's done. Okay, he's still not done. Jeez. Okay, there we go. So yeah, here's the thing. I'm not trying to sell you on Titania, but here's the thing. There are definitely characters that could do that faster. If you can play perfectly, for example, Shang-Chi with a Rage can definitely eat through that stage faster. They can do more damage, right? But here's the thing, especially if you're not going to climb against Gorr, it's not always about the damage. It's also about the survivability. And Shang-Chi has great healing, but he also takes a lot more damage. And the healing, while it's more consistent in a way, you also have to be able to press the tier 3 and press the 3rd skill, you know, so you have to be close to the boss. Against Gorr, you're actually running around and you're actually trying to bait him into the center of the arena at times, which kind of defeats the purpose of doing that. Whereas with characters like Juggernaut and Titania, their heal is just sort of an auto heal, a passive heal. Hers is when she gets hit. So, you know, you're only going to really be using that either actively when you're chasing down the tornadoes or when you're just face tanking him. So I'm starting to appreciate this more from these characters and realizing that maybe that was sort of an intentional design choice, you know, releasing a bunch of really tanky characters, Hulk, Juggernaut, Titania, and then releasing a boss that deals tons of damage, right? And it sort of makes weaker characters suffer because a lot of them get just too much damage. They take too much damage. For example, like Athena, even her heal doesn't keep up. You know, 10 characters with 10% heal, 15% healing, 20% healing. If that's not like clockwork, if it's on like a 7 or an 8 second cooldown or longer, that's not really good enough, right? And Titania is being a 4-second cooldown, 30%, and you don't even have to activate it, so you don't have, you know, you don't even have to have your skills up, is really, really good. And that means the heal will still activate when those little shadow guys are attacking you or whatever. So it's quite nice. So yeah, Titania review overall, I'm quite happy with this rework. I definitely think she's going to find a place on a lot of rosters, especially given the fact that she's quite easy to build up. Keep in mind, you have to use bio selectors on her. She's not a character that's available anywhere else as far as like tokens or like any sort of more cheaper options. So in that sense, she's a little bit rarer. You got to do like Shadowland selectors and stuff like that, just like her husband. But yeah, I would say definitely consider Titania if you're on the fence about her. And then maybe check out some more content if you're curious what she looks like with a proc or an energy. I might switch her over to an energy to see how she does, but I'm quite happy with her performance with a rage, and it means it's basically like playing on easy mode, right? Where I don't have to worry about timing and stuff like that, and I don't have to worry about the defenses, so I can just sort of relax, breathe in, breathe out, and sort of just have fun with the run. So yeah, that's what she gives me, and I'm learning to appreciate that more, especially with how hard Gorr hits. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the Titania review. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.